What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. I'm your host, Warren Thompson, and we have some very extremely exciting Spider-Man news today. But not about Peter Parker, about a different Spider-Man character, Silk. A live-action Silk project has been green-lit. We are going to be getting a whole series, but it looks like Sony is also changing things up for their Spider-Verse in a very big way. And it looks like this could actually be an extremely good thing for Sony, if, like I always mention, they pull it off right. But let's just dive right into this article because it's super exciting and I know everybody wants to hear it. It's from Variety.com breaking this news. The title reads, Amazon orders multiple Marvel Sony shows beginning with Silk, Spider Society from Walking Dead alumni Angela Kang. So right away, awesome news, we get a Silk live action series titled Spider Society, and it's coming from The Walking Dead's Angela Kang, who did a phenomenal job with The Walking Dead. So this is great. But diving into the article, it says, Amazon is officially moving forward with multiple live action shows based on the Marvel characters controlled by Sony. The first series under the deal will be Silk, Spider Society, which was developed by the Walking Dead showrunner Angela Kang along with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse producers Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. Kang will serve as the showrunner and executive producer on Silk as part of a new multi-year overall television deal she has signed with Amazon. And this next part is actually very important, even though it may not seem like it. It says Kang, Lord, and Miller all executive produce along with former Sony boss Amy Pascal. Sony Pictures Television is the studio, with Lord and Miller currently under an overall deal there. So Sony Pictures Television is the studio and Amy Pascal is still an executive producer, and this is really good, and this is why. Amy Pascal consults with Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel Studios. This is good because we've seen Sony try to work without really consulting Kevin Feige. Sometimes it works, but most of the time it doesn't. However, recently we have learned that Sony has been consulting with Kevin Feige for all of their Spider-Man related projects, and it has been said that they are building up a grand universe now, all of which is going to be connected and hopefully come together in a huge movie like Spider-Geddon. This is really good news, pointing to this actually happening. The fact that they are now producing television series that are live action in the same Spider-Verse proves that they are indeed building their world. They are building a huge universe, and it's all hopefully going to be connected. But let's continue reading this article. It says Silk Spider Society will debut domestically on MGM Plus's linear channel, followed by a global launch on Prime Video, which obviously makes sense because Amazon. The show is based on characters created by Dan Slott and Humberto Ramos for Marvel Comics. It follows Cindy Moon, described as a Korean-American woman bitten by the same spider that bit Peter Parker, as she escapes imprisonment and searches for her missing family on her way to becoming the superhero known as Silk. Okay, so this is where things get really exciting. First off, Silk is one of my favorite Spider-Man iterations, and I love her story. If you don't know her origin, like they just briefly mentioned, her origin starts with the origin of Peter Parker actually getting bitten by the radioactive spider. Silk's first appearance was in The Amazing Spider-Man #1. When the dying radioactive spider bites Peter Parker on the hand, it falls to the ground, but before it actually dies, it bites Cindy on the ankle. So it is the same spider that bites Cindy that bit Peter Parker, giving them the same powers. However, their fates are very different. And this is where Sony's overall Spider-Verse plan comes into play in a really cool way. You see, Ezekiel Sims comes and he takes Cindy away. You see, here's a really important Spider-Man fact that you need to know. When Ezekiel Sims first meets Peter Parker, Spider-Man, he explains to him that Spider-Man's powers were not an accident, and the spider that bit him did so voluntarily, and he did this so the spider could pass its powers on to Peter Parker before it died. And of course also Cindy Moon as well. But in doing so, this made Peter Parker and Cindy a Spider-Man totem, which is a bridge between man and beast with the properties of both. This is where Ezekiel then warned Spider-Man that as a spider totem, he was in danger from those who would seek to destroy these beings. And one of those people was a person called Morlun. Now, Ezekiel Sims eventually finds Cindy, and he discovers that she is a spider totem as well, and he warns her that Morlun is tracking her and he is coming for her. So she agrees to be hidden inside of a bunker so that he could never reach her. Now, before he put her in the bunker, he did train her how to use her powers, Ezekiel Sims having Spider-Man powers himself. But when he learned that Morlun was tracking her, he put her in the bunker. Now, she had access kind of to the outside world via videotapes, and she knew the code to get out of the bunker, however, never chose to do so. Now, 13 years later, when Peter Parker was well into him being Spider-Man, he eventually learned about Cindy and he went to set her free. Now, at first she fought him, saying that Morlun would come for her, but he told her that he was dead, and at the time, he was. However, Morlun had died a couple of times, managing to come back. Cindy was kind of mad and she fought Peter Parker, but eventually the two of them would go into a very intimate relationship with each other. Now, she obviously has many years of stories, but that's pretty much the gist of what we need to know based off of what the article that Variety published told us about what the series was actually going to be about. So the series coming to Amazon is going to be about her origins, but here's what is extremely interesting. In the Madam Web movie that is coming up from Sony as a part of Sony's Spider-Verse, it's going to be a Spider-Verse multiverse movie. Madam Web is essentially a cosmic entity in Marvel Comics. She is able to travel through different universes, through the multiverse. So this is setting up a huge multiverse inside of Sony's Spider-Verse, and this is going to be a part of it because Ezekiel Sims is reportedly the villain of Madam Web. Now, that is obviously different from his character in the comics, but it does look like the whole story of spider totems is going to be a factor in Sony's Spider-Verse. It is also a very big factor with Silk. And obviously, as I just mentioned in her origin story, Ezekiel Sims is a big factor in Silk's story as well. So as far as Ezekiel Sims being bad or good, we don't really know that because we only have rumors right now. We do have some leaked set photos that do show us a character that is believed to be Ezekiel Sims. These are leaked from the Madam Web set, and he clearly does seem to have some type of Spider-Man capability, so he is definitely a spider totem, thus confirming the spider totem storyline is going to be a prominent factor in the Spider-Verse over at Sony. And now that they are going to be doing a whole series on Cindy Moon/Silk, this pretty much confirms the connectivity of all of it, confirming that Sony really does have some huge plans for their Spider universe. And I really think that this is a home run. I think the series, if executed properly, is going to be a fantastic series, and I think the whole idea of having movies and shows, much like Marvel Studios is doing now with Disney Plus, is a really great idea, and it's a great way to have even more awesome Spider-Man characters introduced in their universe and have them all come together in a huge movie. Overall, it seems like Sony is kind of taking a play from Marvel Studios' book and trying to somewhat replicate it with their own twist, which I think is a great opportunity. Let's hope they pull it off, and let's hope that the Silk series is going to be a great series because, again, she is a great character. But let me know what you think about all of this information in the comments down below. Let me know how excited you are for a Silk series. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest news. For live updates, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.